Hi, I'm Therese Swenson, and that song that you just heard is Sing for the Climate. I would love for you to Google that and see it's been done all over Europe, and all these people come and sing together. And it's just a wonderful song because we really do have our attention on this beautiful mountain and the world that we live in, and sing for the climate. Anyway, I'm here at the Siskiyou Media Council in Weed, California, and I'm at the Alvarado Studio, which is at 616 South Weed Boulevard. We're right at the central off-ramp in Weed, California, and we have the Siskiyou Media Council has two TV stations, one in Northern California in Northern Siskiyou County, and it's called YCTV, and it's on Channel 4. And then in the South County, we have MCTV, Mountain Community Television, which is Channel 15. So I'd like to invite you, if you're on cable, to scan by us once in a while and see if some of our programs are interesting. Also, we have city planning, supervisor meetings, county council, all these different meetings. I don't know if county council's in there, but many different meetings that happen in the cities that you may be interested to know what's going on in your town. Right now, there's big discussions about the general plan and how high business apartments should be. Should they be 2 or 3 stories or as much as 5 stories? So there's a big discussion in town. Everybody's putting in a lot of input, and you can be involved with public access, and I just like to invite you to get involved. You know, I also do a TV station up in Southern Oregon, and I want to hold this up. It's a programming block for RVTV, Rogue Valley Television, rvtv.sou.edu. You can see our website up there. And so for 10 years, I've been doing a show up there called Tough Times. Both of my shows, the studios put them on a YouTube channel for Therese Swenson, so you can see my shows. In the Rogue Valley Television, we have this programming block that we're going to be developing here, but they have so many more producers up there. Faith and Spirituality is on the weekends. They have children's programs. They have well-being and lifestyle. There's people that do cooking. There's meditation. There's music. There's, what else do they have? Entertainment. They have different groups that do bands and things. Soup TV is late night, arts and culture. They interview people that are artists, and they go into their studio. There's also English as a second language. John Letts and David Nenow has done a lot of interviews and introduced you to the community. I think he's done over 100 interviews in a year or something. Well, with COVID. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to get involved in public access. We need more. The Fourth Estate, the press and the news media is called the Fourth Estate. And we really do have an ability to frame political issues. And one of the things that I get a little bit riled up about is our local newspaper. And I feel like she's a little bit biased. And so I've written some letters to the editor, and I've read great letters to the editor. We have the Siskiyou Daily News, and we also have the Mount Shasta paper. And the Mount Shasta, the Dunsmuir, the Weed papers, they're all part of the South County. And then the Siskiyou Daily News, of course, is online. You can see daily updates of, like, when there was a car accident, I think right away she had pictures for there is online version of the newspaper. So anyway, I like to invite you to get involved in the paper because there's so much going on in your community and you just don't know about it. You know, used to be the kids went to school, they came home, they told you what was going on. You'd be at work, you'd share with people, hey, there's an event coming up. One of the things the Siskiyou Daily and the Mount Shasta Herald will be doing very soon is getting their calendar going, because we're going to start having events now again. Because see, I started this show with no mask. Did you notice? Because we're all vaccinated here and we only have one person at a time. So we're being careful. I know there's a big division in the country about masks, but save that topic for another day. But about the paper, the reason I want you to get the paper is there's always a fun section about cooking. This week it really was well put together because it had Mother's Day in mind. They talked about a yummy egg casserole with sausage and spinach. I won't try and hold that picture up. They had a cream cheese tart, and right now everybody has strawberries in the Redding area, or just lots of fruit. So it tells you how to do that, and fruit salads. And anyway, it was just really nice to have a few pictures to remind me different delicious things to make. Also, I'd like to remind you, you may spend a few coins for the paper, but the Wairika paper usually has the advertisements in it that you take to the market. Nowadays, people use their phone and they just ask for an ad for anything they're buying. But what I say is, when you have coupons that are $1 and $2 off, that pays for your paper. And I do put cream in my coffee, so I'm saving that coupon. There's also a TV guide section, and even though you think to yourself, well, I don't need a TV guide, I just flip through it and see what's on, and there might be something or a new series that's running. There might be some old movies that you thought, I haven't seen that in 20 years. I want to watch it again. And also, I think it's really important to challenge your brain to keep from getting dementia. And they have a crossword in the Siskiyou Daily News, and also the Mount Shasta paper has this section called Select, which is the TV guide. And you don't have to get a pencil and paper and an eraser and try and fill in all those holes, but you can just go through and tease your mind and just ask the questions of yourself or a friend that you might have in the house. Also, right now, property has been really changing hands a lot because it's spring and people are able to pack up and move out. And so this property guide comes out each month. There's one called the Property Guide, and there's another one. There's two property guides, and each paper has one. So the news media is what public access is also. So not only do we have newspapers, which invite letters to the editor, and a lot of neighbors and coworkers and friends and family are all writing in. It just seems like there's been a lot of chatter in the paper. So I just want to tell you, you have a place for a voice, and I think it's important to speak out. Listen, I'm here in Weed, California, which is where our studio is. And even though we reached down to Shasta County and up to the Oregon border, we had a festival here on 420. And I have some pictures, John, that I took because it was put on, of course, by the two dispensaries in town. Got together because 420, of course, is historically known as the time of day when people take a break and finish their day. They've gone to work early, so they're off at 4, and they sit around with their friends and have a glass of water and a doobie. So 420 is the time for people to take a break. And here in April 20th, the whole town of Weed got visited because 420, we have two dispensaries. This one's called Florista, and she organized this along with across the street. John, do we have a picture across the street? Here we go. I want you to see this. I don't want to crowd it out. It's important for you to know this is called Perfect Union. They also have one in Redding and maybe some other ones, but it's also a dispensary, not just on the street. So you walk through those gates and go up. There's a ramp you can walk up, and there's a building in the back where they have people that'll help you. But they also have a kind of a green area where you can sit outside with friends and have a soda. And kind of comfortable chairs. So there's a little bit more room outside at the Perfect Union, but inside at Florista, they have kind of a coffee bar now. So you can come in and get your purchases and maybe come over to the coffee bar and maybe just talk them up a little bit about what is CBD. A lot of people are looking for health reasons to be able to sleep better at night. And if they have pain, they're finding they can manage it with CBD. So I think they need time to talk to people about that. So they're able to have people come in and sit down and get advice about what to do with leg cramps or sleeping or nausea or different things that you might be trying to treat with alternative therapies. Okay, I don't want to talk about that anymore. After I did weed, I wanted to talk to you about being a tourist in your own town. Oh, no. John, can I go to fire first? Sorry. I kind of have a little schedule of what I'm going to talk about. I'd like to remind you that we are getting into fire season. And I like this scarf. It kind of has green, so of course you can see the lake through it. But are you prepared? I just like to remind you, my last show I reminded you to check your roof to make sure you don't have any. So here's my sign I'm making to put up. Forest fires start from scratch. So think before you strike that match. Yes, I know I have to finish painting the word match. I just brought it down because I was working on it. And I just wanted to talk to you about when you're driving along the roads. One of the places I've been concerned is Cantera Loop has a place that we go and pick blackberries in the summer, and it goes all the way down to the creek at the bottom. But there's an old stage road that goes towards Dunsmuir. So it runs parallel to the freeway. It's a frontage road. It's very potholed, and it's seriously compromised right now because of logging trucks. But what I worry about is it's full of pine trees, and there's pine needles. And I worry about people that have come up from the city and they're used to living on asphalt and concrete and having sidewalks, and they drive along and they might flick out a cigarette and catch my world on fire. So that's the reason I've made these signs, and it's kind of, I have these shingles, so I've been making signs for a while. You might see my signs. Bare necessities, I think about when we're out there in the woods where they're doing all that logging right now on South Old Stage Road. They're very efficient. I did take some pictures. I don't have them for this show, but I am going to organize them for you and take some pictures of how much they've cleared the area, making it very safe for us. But there's still a lot of pine needles along the road. So here's one of my signs. John, thanks. At the beginning of Cantera Loop, when you're going north, I have this sign that says no smoking for not very far. Keep your butt in the car. And I've had other signs at the other side. They get stolen. People like my signs, so they steal them. Anyway, I also have some signs that have been on the railroad track the locals have seen. I don't think I gave those to John. But anyway, fire season is here. We need to be careful. So not only flicking out cigarettes, but I also want to talk to you about looking around your own yard to make sure you're fire safe. We just want to make sure if there are any ashes going through the air, if there's controlled burns and a big ash comes, we want to make sure it doesn't land on your roof or on your wood pile, you know, if you've got things right up against the house. So anyway, just a reminder, we're starting to be more careful. I don't think people should be doing outside burning anymore, unless, of course, it snows or rains, which it could do in the next month. So that's about fire danger. I just like to remind you and say, hey, careful. Make sure and rake up all your leaves and things that are nearby. I'm trying to get the city of Dunsmuir and the city of Mount Shasta to get together and provide us an area where we can take brush, because they want people to clean up their yards. And the problem is we don't want people to just take it out to a Forest Service road and create a problem. We need people to be able to dispose of the brush and clean up around their house and not have to separate it, because they say they don't want leaves with branches because they have a contract with somebody that'll chip things. So they just want branches at the dump in one location and then leaves and needles. So we need a place where we can really encourage people to clean up around. So I'd like to see the city open up Roseburg again like they did 10 years ago. I haven't heard about it yet. I wrote a letter to the city, so I hope they think about it. So we do need to clean up our yards and get rid of the fuels. Okay, so that's talking about fire. I want to talk now about being a tourist in your own town. This is something I often like to remind people. when somebody comes to town and you take them up on all the wonderful places down to the lake or on a hike, now it's coming to be summer. And we're going to be thinking about traveling a little bit. And there's a lot of wonderful places right here in Siskiyou County. I didn't bring it with me to hold up the book that says resources in the county. It tells all the places you can go. Of course, you have your map and you have your social media, but I have a little show called Places to Go. And if you go to that, it just kind of tells you all the places in South County that you can get refreshment. And I know you can find it on your map or your GPS or your social media, but I wanted to give you a visual of the outside of all the buildings. So I took a picture of all the places to get refreshment, whether it's sodas or coffees or cookies or meals or to go while you're traveling around the county. And you may want to plan a day where you drive all the way out to Etna. They have a wonderful brewery out there. And it's just a wonderful day's drive, and there's places to walk and hike. And anyway, when I talk to you about being a tourist in your own town, I'm also talking to you about parks. Like if you're going to parks and recreation, there's lots of places you can plan this summer to take your family. In the old days, you kind of planned a trip and you went Farfanugan away. But now we can plan trips in our own community and go visit. But if you are going to plan a trip and not fly, because people are a little concerned about flying and maybe not all members of their family are immunized, vaccinated. So they may be planning on driving across country. You know, in the old days, and this is many years ago, but I have these stamps that the post office made of the 50 states. And I don't know if you can see this. You can go to 1-800-STAMP-24. And this series was called Greetings from America. And this has all 50 states. And they had people would drive across country. And when they got to each state, they would get the postcard that had the name of the state in big letters. And I was saying a commercial artist might want to redo that now because people will be driving cross country. And it's still a good time to send a postcard. John, I had the other camera set up for postcard. Can you see that a little bit? I don't know if you can tap to that other camera. And the reason I was showing you this, the green card makes it look different. Oh, golly gee. So I was thinking with kids, if you have kids, you can have them make a postcard. And I just made this one ready to send to my son. It's a fallen tree, of course. Oops, can you see that? The tree fell. And postcard stamps, I think, are 35 cents. And they're wonderful. You can see they have barn scenes. And I'm just thinking people need to make a postcard. Now, today's Mother's Day. And I kind of did this one jokingly to say to mom at home, any town, and to say, today I took a walk and thought about you. So postcards are something we can not only make ourselves, but we should buy them when we travel and send them to people, because everybody goes to their mailbox and everybody opens it up and they get tired of getting bills, so they might like to get a letter. In the old days, when people wrote a letter, they would describe something to you in such a way that you could almost imagine being there. And letter writing is kind of a lost art now that we're just texting and speaking in sound bites. So I wanted to also mention, talking about mail, I wanted to take an opportunity to talk to you about mail. I want to tell you that you don't have to put your zip +4 when you do a return, but it's very important to put your return address. I realized I'm using an old envelope. But what you want to remember is an optical scanner is reading this envelope. So you want to make sure you're printing really big printing and your numbers are clear and not crowded together. And the reason I'm telling you this is as this letter goes through an optical scanner, if it can't read it, it flips it over, and you'll notice some of your mail comes with a red bar across the bottom. A little bunch of digital, it's been read by a second computer or a person, and it has to travel. So because it has to go through another process, it takes longer. So the more careful you are to very clearly separate out your lines so the optical scanner can read it. And also, always in Europe, you have to put this where it's going, Switzerland or where it's going, or Canada. And you don't have to put USA unless you're out of the country to have it get back. But anyway, I just want to remind you that your mail is optically scanned. And nowadays we've had trouble with mail. People have been concerned that it's taking longer than it should. And we convinced everybody to get their medicine in the mail. And then there was this big slowdown. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so that's about mail. I just wanted to give you that tip. And keep in mind, printing is better because it's being optically scanned. Okay, about being a tourist in your own town, you may have an old rickety old car. I want to say one more thing. And if your old rickety car doesn't work so good and you're going to rent a car and you're maybe going to go more than just your own local community, you may be leaving your county and going out of state even. If you're going to rent a car, I want to tell you something I learned the last time I rented a car. I had a big wake-up call. So I want to tell you about this word. First, I'll take it down to here and just say the word reciprocity. This is an important word if you're renting a car, because there are corporate offices and there are franchise offices. Now, the reason I want to tell you this is I looked up Hertz, and it was in Reading, and I went down and I rented a car, and it had a Hertz envelope. I should have brought it with me. And it had a little Hertz key chain, and it said Hertz on the building. And I got in the car and I drove to the Bay Area, and I had some trouble with the car. It wasn't responding like I thought it should. I was in traffic and it didn't seem, I thought maybe it didn't have enough fluid in the transmission. I did not take it to a car dealer. I went straight to a Hertz dealer. And I said, hey, listen, I'm having trouble with this car. I'm feeling like it's not accelerating. Can I just trade it in on another car? I've rented it for a week to go to some doctor appointments. I was having cataract surgery. Anyway, I was so discouraged that they looked at me and said, they opened the envelope and said, well, this is a franchise. We don't have reciprocity. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, you can't just pick up a car here. So I dialed where I rented it in Reading. And I said, hey, I'm in a Hertz dealer. I'm having trouble with the car. I'd like to exchange it for another car. And they said, no, you have to bring it back. We're not a corporate office. So I learned something. This is important. The word is reciprocity. It's really important that if you're going to rent a car and you're going to go for a long drive, you make sure when you're talking to whatever the company is this a corporate office or is this a private franchise? And so it's important because if you have trouble with the car, you need to know that you can trade it in and get another one. I haven't traded them in many times, but in my 50 years, I definitely have rented a few cars and had trouble and had to. Sometimes somebody's driving a car, they return it and turn the keys in and they don't say they're having a problem with the car. So anyway, the word is corporate office if you're going to rent a car for travel. Make sure whether it's Avis or Hertz or National or any of them. You know, I had a recent incident where I bought some light bulbs at one Ace store. And I took them back to the other Ace store because I got the wrong length and I wanted to trade them in. And I didn't get the same credit for them what I paid because Ace now is a franchise. I was surprised to find that out. I thought if you walked into any Ace department, you could buy something and return it at another Ace. You can return it, but you may not get paid the same. Of course, if you're lucky, you might get paid more. I doubt it. But anyway, I was discouraged to find out about franchises and corporate offices. And I understand independent people want to be resourceful and have their own store. But I think if you have a name brand, you really should have reciprocity. So that's my word for the day, reciprocity. Just thought I'd tell you. So listen, I have about 3 or 4 minutes left to talk to you about, the Rescue Ranch. John, I want to talk to people about the Rescue Ranch. No cats allowed. This is a dog ranch. And I have some pictures. I drove out there and it's between there. See that sign? That sign is between Wairika and Montague, Oberlin Road. So it's about 30 or 40 miles from South County. But from Wairika, it's only about 7 miles to drive from South Wairika out there. And they have lots of dogs. Here's a wonderful picture of the front door. And they have lots of dogs for you to bring home. And they're all, of course, neutered and spayed. And of course, I'm jokingly saying no cats allowed. I like to make signs that say no cats allowed for dog parks. Because my friend John Ryan in Santa Cruz, I made a sign that said no cats allowed. And he wrote to me, he took a picture and he said, Still keeping the cats out. Anyway, here's somebody that just recently picked up a dog and gave it a home, and he's trying to think of a name for it. Now, I didn't get his name, but they were checking out the dog, and I said, oh, stop in front of the mural. So I don't know if you can see this, but this dog just got a new home. It's the most darling little puppy, and I'm sure he came up with a good name that he can yell out at night. I always used to name my animals something I could say at night, like my cat was Zeke, so I could go outside and go, Zeke, and not tell all the neighbors I was calling in my cat. And I did the same thing with my dog's name was Simone. Simone. Anyway, the Rescue Ranch, it's important for you to know that they have lots of pets, and they get collected around the county, whether somebody has puppies or they're found, lost and found. Each city has a dog pound or a way to manage lost dogs, but this is dogs that need a new home. So I only have a few minutes. What else did I want to talk about before it's over? Dogs Rescue Ranch. And did I have any more pictures at the Rescue Ranch? I guess I didn't put them on here. I took them with my phone. And I wanted to show you where you get off. If you're coming from the south, you get off at the Grenada Montague turnoff. And if you're in Wairika, you just go to Oberlin Road off of Fairlane. And please come out and visit the Rescue Ranch. They not only would like to have volunteers, if you're a student and you're going to break for summer, they can use people to train dogs. And they do have some jobs for working with the dogs, but you could also volunteer if you just wanted to drop in for an hour or two and walk a dog and help them. So that's called the Rescue Ranch. Let me think what else I wanted to say before I'm gone. Politically, remember there, thank you. So one of the things when I was talking about fires, the fire departments would really like to make sure that you have your address at the end of your driveway. And so I'm making up these bricks and I'm going to put people's address, like a nice painted number. I should have brought an example. And so I have these bricks. You'll see me at the McLeod Fair. And but the reason I asked John to put that up is because I want to talk to you. There's something really important. My time is almost up. Dios mío. Oh my God. I need to have an exclamation point on both sides of that. One's upside down to say, oh my God. But one man, one vote. Right now we're watching voter rights being taken away. The time is almost up. But I want to tell you to look this up on your computer. Run for what? No matter where you live, there are positions that are coming open with your local city, community, county. So you need to get involved because we all need to, we have kind of a civic duty to be involved. And that way, as you work your way up being involved, you might be a representative for the state. So think about run for what. My name's Therese Swenson. My show's called These Times. I'm here in South Siskiyou at the Siskiyou Media Council. Come join us. On Sunday is our day to do recording in the studio because it's quiet in the rest of the building. So come by on a Sunday or look us up on the web and check in with us because we need reporters all over the county. And so Siskiyou Media Council, Therese Swenson, These Times. I'll see you next time. My show runs Monday night and Saturday noon.